Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB game scheduled for Saturday, July 8th, 2023. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my $19 rundown best bet, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Saturday in Major League Baseball. First up is the Chicago Cubs taking on the New York Yankees. Drew Smyly and Garrett Cole are your starters. Your Drew Smyly going into the start not in the best form. You look at his last two games, one of those starts at Wrigley Field, the other one on the road. He went 3 2/3 innings in each game, so his pitch count went way up early in the outings. Gave up a combined 10 earned runs, 13 base hits, 2 home runs, and 4 walks as well. And I know the Yankees lineup has not been great in the last month or so without Aaron Judge, but I still think they don't really need to do too much against Smyly and this Cubs bullpen to win the game and cover the run line in the end, because Garrett Cole's on the other side. He's been very sharp this year at 8-2 record with a 2.79 ERA. Good numbers at Yankee Stadium, a hitter-friendly ballpark, 5-1 record, 2.82 ERA, 67 innings, 77 strikeouts. I think he gives the Yankees 6-7 strong innings. I think the Yankees bats back him up enough to win this game and cover the run line. So give me the Yankees laying the 1.5 runs. Next up is the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Detroit Tigers. Kevin Gausman and Matt Manning are your starters. Matt Manning's had only 4 starts at the big league level this year in the regular season, but all 4 of those games were on the road. And we know last year Manning didn't have the best numbers overall, but he did pitch really well at Comerica Park, where he had a 2.52 ERA and 39 in the third innings of work at home with a very low opponent's batting average of 192 compared to on the road a 4.94 ERA, a 293 opponent's batting average in 23 2/3 innings. So he pitched really well at home last year. This is going to be his first home start of this season. The Blue Jays, as of late against righties, haven't been the best. I mean, they're below average in terms of OPS and isolated power in the last 30 days. Detroit is also, in the below average against righties in the last month. They face a tough starting pitcher on the other side in Kevin Gausman. Gausman's been better at Rogers Center than he has been on the road this year, but he still has a decent 3.58 ERA and 50 in a third road innings this season with 61 strikeouts and only 4 home runs allowed. I think we see a low-scoring game in this one. I'm going to take the under in the first 5 and the under in the full game as well. Next up, it's the Baltimore Orioles taking on the Minnesota Twins. Tyler Wells and Sonny Gray are your starters. Both these starting pitchers are having great seasons. Wells got a 3.19 ERA. Gray's got a 2.50 ERA this year. But I think the advantage got to go to Wells in this game, because when you look at last week, these teams played against each other. Sonny Gray faced the Orioles, and he pitched well in that game. 6 innings, a shutout ball with 7 strikeouts, but it's never easy to face the same lineup twice in the matter of a week. While Tyler Wells on the other side did not have to pitch against the Twins in that series. His last start was against the Yankees, where he went 6 innings, a 2-run ball. In fact, he's given up 2 earned runs exactly in each of his last 5 starts, so he's keeping the Baltimore Orioles in games. I think the Orioles bats will be able to back him up. Should be a close game, but I like the Orioles to win it in the end. Give me the O's on the money line on the road. Next up, we see the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Chicago White Sox. Miles Mikolas going for St. Louis. No official starter for the White Sox right now. I do think the advantage goes to St. Louis in this game. Miles Mikolas has been better on the road than he has been at Busch Stadium. At Busch Stadium, a 5.32 ERA and about 47 innings of work, but on the road in about 58 innings of work, a 3.86 ERA with a lower opponent's batting average to go with it. I think Mikolas pitches pretty well. I mean, the White Sox have improved their numbers against righties in the last month or so, but I do think Chicago is in trouble here with their pitching staff. They just played a doubleheader not too long ago. Now they might have to go with a bullpen game in this game or just a spot starter. We know the pitching staff overall for Chicago has not been great this year, so I don't love their chances here. Give me the St. Louis Cardinals on the money line. Next up, it's the Colorado Rockies taking on the San Francisco Giants. No official starter for San Francisco. Connor Seabold going for the Rockies. Seabold has really struggled as of late, whether he's been at Coors Field or on the road. I mean, he has a steeper ERA away from Coors Field this year at 6.91. His last start against the Tigers, 8 earned runs and 3 home runs, including a grand slam early in that game. Before that, he gave 4 earned to the Dodgers in a 5-0 loss, 9 earned and 4 home runs to the Braves in a 10-2 loss. He is just getting crushed right now and giving up a lot of sharp contact. I think the Giants will be able to get to him. The Rockies' bats not really trustworthy on the road. San Francisco, a very good bullpen. Give me San Francisco here in the run line at Oracle Park. Next up, it's the Texas Rangers taking on the Washington Nationals. Andrew Heaney and Jake Irvin are your starters. Andrew Heaney was originally supposed to go on Friday, but he was still on the paternity list, so the Rangers moved him to Saturday. I still like his matchup here against Washington. Even though Heaney is a strikeout-dependent guy, and the Nationals do a good job at limiting strikeouts, this is still a Nationals team that does chase quite a bit. They have the 5th highest chase percentage in baseball this year. Heaney himself has a good chase rate, overall in 2023. So I do think even if Heaney's not earning those strikeouts, which he still could because we saw him in his last game against the Astros, a team that also does a really good job at limiting strikeouts. Heaney went 5 innings, 8 strikeouts to shut out baseball. But even if he's not earning those missed bats, he still should be earning a lot of weak contact, weak fly balls, weak ground balls as well. So I expect a good outing from Andrew Heaney. He's also been really good on the road this year with a 2.55 ERA. Jake Irvin on the other side, I don't think he's a viable option in a major league rotation right now, but I give him credit. As of late, it's been much sharper. 3 earned runs or fewer in all 5 of those starts. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I think the Rangers still will find a way to win it in the end and cover the run line. So give me the Texas Rangers on the money line, the run line, and lean towards the under as well. Next up, we see the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. Luke Weaver and Colin Ray are your starters. When you look at this matchup, even though the Reds have been one of the more profitable teams in baseball in the last 30 days plus, I just don't love this matchup for him. Colin Ray had a really good month of June, had a 4.05 ERA, which is exactly what the Brewers would look for. He pitched well in his last game, his first start of July against the Pirates, 6 2/3 innings, 2 runs. He's only given up 3 home runs in his last 30 innings plus, so limiting that sharp contact, which was an issue for him at the beginning of the year. Luke Weaver, on the other hand, although he pitched pretty well in his last start against the Nationals, he had a 10.29 ERA in the month of June. Even though the Reds' bats were able to back him up, during those games, I just don't like their chances here. Cincinnati, when you look at the bullpen, not everything's about starting pitching, but the Cincinnati Reds bullpen in the last 30 days has the highest SIERA in baseball, which, suggests there's going to be some regression for that bullpen going forward. Meanwhile, Milwaukee right around league average, so I think the Brewers have the edge in the starting pitching and bullpen game in this one. I think the Reds have the better lineup, but I like the Brewers in this game at home, so give me Milwaukee on the money line. Next up, it's the Kansas City Royals taking on the Cleveland Guardians. We're going to see Brady Singer and Gavin Williams on the mound in this one. Now, we saw the same pitching matchup back on June 27th. It was a 2-1 final score in favor of the Guardians. Neither of these starting pitchers gave up a run in that game. And, both these starting pitchers, I like their chances in this one to put together good outings. I think we're seeing another low-scoring game and probably a competitive one as well. Brady Singer just faced the Los Angeles Dodgers, one of the toughest lineups in baseball. He went 7 innings of 1-run ball for Kansas City in that game, and the Royals went on to win that game 9-1, the final score. So Singer's really improved his stuff. His ERA now below 6 on the season. We know it was above 7 at one point this year, but he hasn't been great on the road. That's the one concern I have in Singer's game, and it's why I lean towards the Guardians on the money line in this one. Gavin Williams, he struggled in his last game, but that was against the Atlanta Braves, the toughest lineup in baseball against righties. He pitched really well against these same Royals not long ago. I think he's got a really high upside. He's one of the better prospects for the Guardians in their organization. Good strikeout stuff. I think he pitches well. Give me the under here and the Guardians at Progressive Field. Next up, we go to Fenway Park as the A's take on the Red Sox. Paul Blackburn and James Paxton are your starters. Paul Blackburn did not pitch well in his last game. 5 earned runs allowed, 4 walks as well. Against the Chicago White Sox in 5 innings, it was an 8-7 White Sox win. And overall, even though it's a small sample size, Blackburn has not pitched well on the road. 16 innings of work on the road, 20 base hits, 4 walks, and 9 earned runs. It gives him a 5.06 ERA. I don't love that going into Fenway Park against a tough Red Sox lineup, facing a tough starting pitcher on the other side in James Paxton, who was rested because he was placed on the paternity list, so he's had about 7 days of rest. In his last game, 7 2/3 innings, 7 strikeouts, no earned runs against a tough Blue Jays lineup on the road. That was a 5-0 Red Sox win. I think Paxton pitches well in this game. I think the Red Sox win it and cover the run line. So give me Boston laying the 1.5 runs. Next up, it's the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Miami Marlins. Rangers Suarez and Braxton Garrett, a pair of lefties on the mound in this one. Suarez didn't have his best outing last start against the Nationals, gave up 5 earned runs in the 5 1/3 innings of work, but he has been a lot better on the road this year, a sub-2 ERA and about 32 innings of work, only 1 home run allowed on the road. And you look at the Marlins and the Phillies, both of these teams have hit lefties very well in the last 30 days. When you look at OPS, the Marlins are ranked 3rd, the Phillies are ranked 4th. But the thing that I think is more impressive towards Philadelphia is even though their strikeout rate's a lot steeper, when you look at the isolated power numbers, the Phillies are ranked 5th in the league, and the Marlins, believe it or not, not. Even though they're third in OPS, they are dead last in baseball, and isolated power against lefties in the last 30 days tells me they're getting a lot of singles and a lot of lucky singles as well. When you look at the BABIP, 411 in the last 30 days for Miami against lefties. Now, it's not the largest sample size. It's only 131 at plate appearances, but still, that is very, very unsustainable going forward. I do expect some regression. I think the Phillies' numbers against lefties are a lot more trustworthy. I like Philadelphia here on the money line on the road. Next up, it's the Pittsburgh Pirates taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Mitch Keller going for Pittsburgh. No official starter for Arizona. The Diamondbacks have been one of the more profitable teams on the road this season, but at Chase Field, they're right around 500 going into Friday's games, and they haven't been playing their best baseball as of late. Mitch Keller is a good option for the Pirates in the starting pitching role, where he's been their best option in that rotation, a 3.52 ERA on the season. Not as good numbers on the road, but I still think he will give the Pirates 5-6 good innings, and getting plus money on the road, I think it's worth a shot here with the Pirates. So not my favorite game on the board, that's for sure, but I'll take a stab here with the Pirates on the money line. Next up, it's the Atlanta Braves taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. We're going to see Spencer Strider and Taj Bradley on the mound in this one. Now, we saw Spencer Strider at one point was really struggling, gave up 8 earned runs to the Mets, 5 earned runs to the Tigers, but since those 2 starts, Strider's last 3 games, he's gone at least 6 innings. He's given up 2 earned runs or fewer in all 3 of those games, so all quality starts, and he's had 9+ strikeouts in all 3 of those outings as well, and those 3 games were all Braves wins and run line covers. I like the Braves to win this game and cover the run line as well. Taj Bradley on the other side has not pitched well at Tropicana Field. He's not in good form going into this start where he had 2 road games, gave up 12 earned runs and 5 home runs in those 2 starts against the D-backs and the Mariners. I don't like his chances here against the toughest lineup in baseball against righties in the Atlanta Braves. Give me the Braves here on the run line on the road. Next up, it's the Seattle Mariners taking on the Houston Astros. Framber Valdez and Brian Wu are your starters. Now, I think we're getting a really good price with the Mariners in this game, and we knew Seattle had really good pitching in their rotation and their bullpen, but the offense was really sluggish to start the year. All of a sudden now, though, the Mariners' offense is starting to turn it on a bit, and we see against lefties in the last 30 days, Seattle has good numbers. In WRC+, the Mariners are ranked 4th in baseball. Isolated power numbers not as strong, but we know this team has a lot of pop in the lineup. And Framber Valdez, he's given up a lot of sharp contact this year, even though he's one of the better lefties in the American League. He's got a 2.49 ERA overall, even better numbers at Minute Maid Park. I still worry about his game in this one against a tough Seattle lineup that's faced him quite a bit over the last couple of seasons. Brian Wu on the other side, though, the Astros don't really know what they're getting when they're facing Brian Wu. This is the first time they've faced him in his career, and he's been pitching well for Seattle. Ever since his first game, the Major League debut against the Rangers, where he gave those 6 earned runs, Wu's given up 2 earned runs or fewer in the rest of the outings. 5 starts against the Angels, White Sox, Yankees, Nationals, and Giants. His strikeout numbers are there. He's keeping the ball on the ground. I think he pitches well in this game. I think the Mariners take this one. So give me Seattle on the money line at Minute Maid Park. Next up, it's the Los Angeles Angels taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Reed Detmers going for the Halos. No official starter for the Dodgers right now. I don't love this spot for Reed Detmers and the Angels. Reed Detmers, I watched his last game against the Diamondbacks. He went 6 innings, 2 runs, 9 strikeouts in the final line, so it looks really good on paper. But I watched that game, gave up a lot of sharp contact, gave up a home run to Carson Kelly of all batters, gave up a 1-11 ground ball to fly ball ratio. That's a big concern for me. The ball was in the air quite a bit in that start. Now you're facing the same Dodgers lineup you've just faced back on June 20th, so we know it's never easy facing the same lineup twice in only a matter of a couple of weeks. And this is a Dodgers team. Its offense is heating up. This is an offense that hits lefties very, very well overall this year. In the last 30 days, Dodgers are 4th in baseball in isolated power, top 15 in team OPS. So I do think Detmers could get in trouble here with the long ball, especially in this outing. And I don't think the bats are really going to back him up and as much as they would in the past. Mike Trout being out of the lineup, Shohei Ohtani dealing with the injury. And I do think that the Dodgers take this game pretty convincingly. So give me the Los Angeles Dodgers on the money line. I lean towards the over as well in this game. And the final game for Saturday's card in Major League Baseball, it's the New York Mets taking on the San Diego Padres. Pair of southpaws on the mound in this one, David Peterson and Blake Snell. Now, the first 2 starts back at the Major League level for David Peterson, I actually backed the Mets. Even though I don't back Peterson too often, I like the Mets in both of those games because it was against the Brewers and the Giants, teams that have not hit lefties too well overall in 2023, teams that strike out quite a bit as well against lefties. I thought, Peterson, a strikeout-dependent starter, would have good outings, and, he was pretty good in both those games. He went 6 innings of shutout ball against the Brewers, 4 innings of 1-run ball against the Giants. However, I don't like the spot at all for David Peterson in this game, especially with Snellzilla on the other side and for San Diego, who's been one of the hotter pitchers in baseball in the last month plus. You saw in the month of June, Snell had a .87 ERA in 31 innings of work. His first start of July, 5 innings. He gave up 7 base hits and 4 walks, but he got out a lot of jams, no earned runs, and 7 strikeouts in the end. The Padres have hit lefties very well in the month of the last 30 days and overall this season, with their top 10 in baseball in team OPS and isolated power against lefties. Pretty low strikeout rate, and the big thing for me, a high walk rate, 11.6%, or excuse me, 11.1% is the third highest in baseball. Peterson's control has been off all season, really all of his career. His control has been off, and we've seen him his last 2 starts, 6 walks against the Brewers and Giants. I don't love the spot at all for Peterson. Give me the San Diego Padres, even though the Mets have played great baseball as of late. Give me the Padres in this one on the money line and the run line. And that's it. Those are the games for Saturday in Major League Baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.